Hello everyone. Today we're going to be working with statistics. On what we want to do is we want to take a look at some of the definitions and identifying the data that we will be collecting, or you guys are going to be given, or if you're asked what kind of data do you have, you know what to say. Statistics is a broad branch. We're going to be focusing only on maybe the organizing and analysis, part of the analysis of statistics. Statistics is a branch of mathematics dealing with the collection, organization, analysis, interpretation, and presentation of data. That is the whole definition or broad aspects in terms of statistics. We want to take a look at 6 definitions and 6 things that we need to know. One, which is population. What is population? What is sample? What is qualitative data? What is quantitative data? Discrete data, and then continuous data. Population refers to the total set of observation that can be made. So it's talking about everything. So if they tell you Belize, it's going to include all the people in Belize. If they tell you the world, it's going to include everything that you're talking in terms of the world. For example, if we are studying the weight of women or adult women, the population is the set of weights of all the women in the world. It does not specify, does not say anything, it just said weight of adult women. So it's going to be, what's the population? The population is going to be all the world. It's not specific in this case. 2 example, it says if we are studying the grade point average, which is GPA, of students at the University of Belize, the population is going to be the set of grade point average of all the students at UB. So that is the population. It is basically everybody that could be in the research, right? Then you have what is called sample. Now the sample comes from the population. Now you take a look at the little diagram here, you would notice that you have a huge circle here, which is the population, which is everybody. The sample is going to be a portion of it, or something that joins them, that unites them. Maybe they are single parent, maybe they are science students, like in this case, maybe they are business students. So that would be the sample. Now notice this, a sample refers to a set of observation drawn from the population. Population, everything. Sample is something from in there, right? So that is what we have. It says example GPA of science students from the University of Belize. You can see that the population is going to be the entire school, right? The entire school. And then that the sample is going to be science students. And then science students, notice that it comes from the population, a piece of it, because not all of them are science students. That is what we have. Next thing that we want to take a look at is what is qualitative data, and then what is quantitative data. Qualitative data comes from the word quality, and if you hear about quality, you're talking about maybe a word. For example, what is the quality, or what is the brand of shoes that you have? It's going to be a word. It's going to be Nike, it's going to be Adidas, it's going to be anything that you know that is out there, modern. So here it says a qualitative variable is one whose values are adjectives such as color of hair, color of skin, and a gender and nationality. Example, what is your color of hair? Of course, you can tell me it is black, brown, yellow, and so on. If I ask you what is your nationality, your nationality might be Belizean, Salvadorian, Guatemalan, Mexican, and so on, American, and so on. And then if you notice, what you would enter here is a word. So once it is a word, it is going to be a qualitative data, which you can, again, qualitative, it's a quality. Quantitative data, on the other hand, is different. It is quantity. It is going to be a number. So once your response to the question is a number, it is going to fall under quantitative data. A variable that takes numerical values for which arithmetic makes sense. For example, counts. Count the number of chicks that the chicken has. Count the number of students in the classroom. What is the temperature? What is the height? What is the weight? What is the height? Amount of money. How much money did you spend? What is your change? And so on. So those are going to be quantitative, because again, it is a quantity, is going to be a number. Now, when we categorize here quantitative data, we can further categorize it as discrete data or continuous data. Discrete data refers to something that is fixed, right? It is a quantitative data whose set of possible values are countable, something that is fixed. For example, if I ask you how many students in the classroom, the number of students in the classroom you would have, it is 25 students. You cannot say it is 25 and a half, right? You cannot say it is 25 and 1/3 and so on. So it is something that is fixed. For example, another one that could be the shoe size. Shoe size, you would say, oh, but I have 9.5, but it is fixed. You cannot say, okay, I want 5 and 1/4 or 5 and 1/18 and so on. So it is fixed. For example, it says typical examples of discrete data are variables whose possible values are a set of the integers, such as social security number, the number of people in a family, age rounded to the nearest year. You're 25 years, you're 30 years, you're 45 years, and so on. You do not say, oh, I am 40 and a half, or I am 40 and a month. You don't say that. So those are going to be discrete data, right? So what is continuous? What is the difference between discrete and continuous? Continuous, on the other hand, it says a quantitative variable is continuous if its set of possible values is uncountable. Sorry, you're not able to count it, meaning that you will have decimals. You will, if you're measuring, for example, what is the length of your arm, you would not have an exact 2 feet. You will have 2 feet, 1 inch, and 1/8, and so on, right? So those are going to be continuous. Another one would be example, temperature. If you turn on your oven and you want to know what is the exact temperature, then you use a thermometer to put in there, and then you're going to get the exact temperature, right? And then that's going to be 101 degrees Celsius, 101.5 degrees Celsius, and so on. Another one would be your exact height, right? When we are asked our height, we normally would say it is 53 inches or so on, or in this case it says exact height. In this case, if you get your exact height, you would be maybe 31 inches and 1/8, 31 inches and a half, 31 inches and 1/4. So if you notice, you have decimals or you have fractions in there and it's not fixed. Exact age, in terms of your exact age, you would say I am 10 years old, 5 months and 3 days, with seconds you could even include, and then you could notice that that would be continuous data. Now, how do I know if it's continuous? The only thing that I need to ask myself is, am I using a tool for measurement? Here you just count, or it's fixed: shoe size, number of people that visited Shell, number of buses that arrived today, and so on, right? So those are very fixed, those are exact amount. Continuous will be what is the length of your hand, what is the height of a tree, and so on. So but here the only thing is, am I using something to measure it? For example, temperature. If I am asked what is the temperature within the oven, I would use a thermometer. So I am using something to measure it. Height, I'm using the ruler, I'm using tape or whatsoever to measure and to get an exact value, and even if it's decimal or fraction, then I could write it down. Your age, I would have to take a look at the calendar and so on, right? So am I using something to measure? If I ask you what is the circumference of a tree trunk, then you would use a measuring tape to measure around it. If I ask you what is the length of your hair, you would have to measure it, and so on, right? So that is what we have. So first thing that we have, population. Population would be everything that can be in the questionnaire, in the survey. The sample is just a part of the people from the population, right? It's a part of it. Qualitative data, this is talking about the question now. What is the color of hair? The answer is yellow. So it's going to be a qualitative data because it's an adjective or it's a word or it's a phrase. It's qualitative data. Now qualitative data is only that. There's nothing else. Once you hear it's a word, qualitative data, done. If you move on to quantitative data, quantitative data is a number. Now there are two types of quantitative data. You have the discrete and you have the continuous. If first thing that I would do here, if they ask me how many pages does the book have, I would say it's 112. Am I using something to measure to get that answer? If I say no, then it is discrete because I know that for the number of pages, I do not need to use anything to measure. So discrete. If they ask me what is the diameter of an orange tree, in this case I would need to take a ruler, put it from one end of the orange and then measure to the other end, which is going to be using a tool to measure. So here, if I am finding what is the diameter, I would say it is quantitative continuous, right? And that is what we have. Now I want you guys to download the work that I have for you guys. You have two papers that you need to complete. One is going to be identifying what is the population and what is the sample. You have an example right there. Let me just quickly go over it. It says Bowen and Bowen Company wants to know if their new logo is liked by Belizeans. So first thing I could notice is that the one who's conducting the questionnaire or the survey is going to be Bowen and Bowen, and they're trying to find whether they like or dislike the logo. Now, what is the population? The population is going to be the Belizeans. They're not going to ask those questions to any Mexican or any American, none of that. It's Belizeans. So what is the population? It's all Belizeans, right? So that is the population. It says the manager collected Belizean response on Monday from one gas station in each district. So my population is Belizean, and the specific people that are going to respond to that question is going to be my sample, which is going to be response from Belizeans, which is the population, but more specific, the ones that visiting the selected gas station on Monday. So that is going to be the sample, right? And this is what I want you guys to do with the rest there. It's 7 of them. Write what is the population and what is the sample. I'll read the first one. I won't answer it, but I'll just read it. It says, a principal wants to find out which subject is preferred in the secondary schools in the Coyote district. That should be in the Coyote district. Questionnaires are sent to all students from Kaina Online High School. So what is the population? Remember, that's broad, and then sample is going to be a specific section or a specific amount. That's the first assignment that you have. I hope you guys complete, and please upload and send back. The second one that I want you guys to take a look and work is going to be identifying whether it is qualitative, quantitative, discrete, or continuous. Now in this case, notice an example that I have here. It says, which district were you born? In this case, when I ask myself in which district was I born, I am going to say it is Orange Walk district. Here we have an answer, which is the Cayo. Hence, if I am giving myself an answer that is going to be a word, if we go back, you can know that if I give myself an adjective, it is going to be qualitative data. Hence, qualitative data, I go and I check qualitative data. That is what you're going to be doing with the rest. Now notice that you have 4 of them. Keep in mind that if it is qualitative data, that's it. You don't have anything else. If you give an answer that is quantitative data, then you're going to say quantitative data, and then you will have to either check discrete or continuous. Let me find one and then answer it for you. Let me answer number 3. It says, how tall are you? How tall are you? In this case, how tall am I? I would need to use some sort of measurement. First thing, am I getting a word? No. Am I getting a number? Yes. Hence, I'm going to say it is going to be quantitative data. Now, since I said it is quantitative data, I need to go and see if it is discrete or continuous. On the other hand, if it is a word, it is just qualitative data and that's it. You don't need to say discrete or continuous because it can't be discrete or it can't be continuous, right? So, how tall am I? Quantitative. What I will ask myself is, am I using something, some sort of tool to measure the answer? How tall am I? Of course, I'm using the measuring tape, I'm using a ruler, anything, but I will be using a tool to measure how tall I am. Hence, if I am using some tool of measurement, which one said which tool of measurement? It says using a tool for measurement. It is going to be continuous. Hence, I will go back and I will say it is continuous. So, two examples you have there. In which district were you born? That is going to be Kayo district. So since it's Kayo district, it is qualitative. It is a word. I don't need to answer anything apart from that. But if you go and you say, how tall are you? Then I would need to give you a number. So that's going to make it quantitative data. But quantitative data is further divided into discrete or continuous. The next question I need to ask myself is, am I using a tool to measure? If I am using a tool to measure, then I insert continuous. If not, then it's going to be discrete, right? So do I use a tool to measure myself? How tall am I? Yes, so it's going to be continuous. I want you guys to fill out the rest. If you have any questions, please post, send me back, and then I will see how I respond to you guys.